Are you taking people for a ride, or are you being taken for a ride? The reason why I'm asking you this question is for the following. In your personal life as well as in your business life, what you will find is that certain people have a tendency to be taken advantage of, whilst other people tend to be the ones that actually are taking advantage of other people. This really always comes back to DISC. I personally swear by DISC as a methodology. It's not only a tool for self-awareness, but it's also a wonderful tool for collaborations, for relationship building, and especially for negotiation and team building, and even business development if you really want to take it to that level. Now, what does that also mean here? If, for example, you score very high on S, you're going to be one of those that is going to easily say yes to other people, to please them and to do right by them and potentially help them. But very often that might actually be abused by other people. And you might sometimes just put up with what other people say and the way they say it to you without really voicing that the way they said it was maybe rude, or you felt being taken advantage of, and any of that. And you're going to start building some grudges and hold them inside of you. So over time, can you imagine what this does? It means that you basically will be hoarding things up, and you'll start here and there have some trust issues. You're going to second guess yourself. You're going to feel that people aren't doing the right thing by you, even though you are doing the right thing by them in your own head. And so you can imagine that over time, this builds. It's like a snowball that rolls down from the top of the mountain and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And then at some point, something's going to give. So it might mean that you blow up. It might mean that you break down. It might mean that you suddenly quit your job in the last minute just because you couldn't deal with it anymore. This doesn't have to happen like this. And this is particularly when you're high S. Equally, when you're high D, which is the opposite. This is those people that find it very easy to say what they got on their mind, state their truth, don't really master mouth and their words and not really second guess it. They just say it as it comes. And so whilst it's pretty good for you to be able to then confide in other people and just say what you think, the challenge is that you can sometimes do it in such an abrupt and direct way that it puts people off and it creates disharmony. It creates antagonism. It actually erodes trust and rapport. And you can imagine in your personal life as well as in your business life or your career that you don't want to necessarily mess up your relationships, because once you start going down that path, whatever is broken is not easy to repair. When you're working with either one of those two styles, you got some work to do. And it always starts with self-awareness. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to actually take half an hour to go through a proper DISC tool, an assessment that will ask you a ton of questions, and you just deal with them as good as you can, and you just pick what's most right for you. That'll then, at the end of the process, will give you then a rapport which is very insightful, and it shows you your strengths as well as your weaknesses, and the latter is more so an opportunity for growth, because a weakness really means that right now it's not helping you. But as soon as you become aware, you can do something about it. And then, of course, if you seek out the right guidance, you can really take deliberate steps, as I did 10 years ago when I became self-aware. And I chose to do something called the internship, which is a 6-month process to start relating to a style on the DISC that is very different to us, but really important. Back in those days, I realized that I wanted to really be on better speaking terms with C's. C's stands for compliance and conscientiousness, and it's basically the highly analytical people in the world. The accountants, the engineers, the lawyers, maybe to some extent police officers and the likes. Researchers, another one. University professors. It's like the people that are highly analytical. My dentist is another one. A GP very often is high C too. And so there's certain correlations between certain professions and the role or the style that people have on DISC. And for success in any role, one style will be better suited than another one on DISC. Start with building self-awareness first. If you start knowing not only how you like to be communicated, but then also the penny drops and you understand that not everybody shares the same view as you. Not everybody has the same needs as you. Not everybody buys the same way or decides the same way as you. Some people go fast, others take it slowly. Some people like dealing with change very easily, whilst other people are more wary and frightened about change, especially if somebody else is driving it for them. All of this is really where DISC again can be a great asset for you to put into your toolbox and start building that self-awareness, but also start building emotional and social awareness of other people. Because chances are, just like you and me, that the other people, also have a style. And particularly if you see the dynamic between you and another person where you would qualify that other person as difficult, the chances are that with DISC you will be able to exactly explain why that is, and you will also know how to approach them differently to get better results.